Here's a rule for life. If you live in a field, you're probably not that important. You see, nothing much happens in a field really. The grass grows a bit longer, the sheep get a bit fatter, but it's not exactly life-changing. And that's what we don't get when we think about the nativity story, that these shepherds were outcasts. They were right on the edge of society. They weren't important at all, and history tells us that they couldn't actually bear witness in court. Like, if they witnessed a crime, their testimony would mean nothing. No one would believe them. That was the law. So imagine you live in a field and no one really cares what you have to say, and you're sitting around the fire one night when you see a burst of light, and standing before you is a man, and you're not sure how he got there, and he doesn't look like any sort of man you've ever seen before. This is something different. Imagine that man tells you something that the whole country needs to hear. He tells you something so significant that you can't keep it to yourself, and you can't believe what you're hearing. And just when you're thinking, is this man for real? You see more flashes of light, and there's more of these people, and they're singing these beautiful words, and then they're all gone. And I bet there was this moment where the shepherds look at each other and just think, who is going to believe us? Because I have moments where I do not believe that God has given me anything to say at all. I don't believe there's anything in me that is worth sharing. And so I wonder, why did the shepherds rush off and tell everyone what they'd seen and what they'd heard? They didn't have the right to do that. No one should have believed them. Well, here's what I think it was. This amazing event, this good news that they had to share, it didn't come from them. It came from God. And so, I don't care if you're not feeling confident, or if you've made a few mistakes, or if no one believes you can achieve anything. Because this isn't about you. God has given you something to share. And if the shepherds tell us anything, it's that you don't have to be impressive for God to show up in your life. Because when people heard what the shepherds had to say, they were amazed. People didn't just listen to them. They were changed by what they heard. But don't get this story wrong. This isn't a rags to riches story. I think the shepherds went back to being shepherds. Instead, this is a story about how it's okay to live a life in rags because you're worth far more than your reputation or your money. God loves the humble, and He lifts them up. And so maybe it's better to live in a field than a palace.